Building Code Board of Appeals, September 1st meeting. Kathy, would you please do roll call?
Mr. Abathera?
Here.
Ms. Brooks?
Here.
Mr. Jezerman?
Here.
Mr. Friesen?
Here.
Mr. Miller? Quorum present, Mr. Chair.
Our second one will be we need to put a suspension of the Building Code Board of Appeals bylaws.
I motion to suspend the suspension of the building code.
Do you have a second?
I'll second that.
Take your pick, Kathy.
Zerman's got it.
Ready?
Kathy? Yes.
Ms. Brooks?
Yes.
Mr. Jezerman?
Yes.
Mr. Friesen?
Yes.
Mr. Abathera?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Our next one is the approval of the minutes of the August 11th, 2021 meeting.
I'll second that.
We need a first.
I'll first, motion
Okay.
to approve.
So it was moved by,
First, I second.
okay, thank you.
Kathy?
Mr. Jezerman?
Yes.
Mr. Friesen?
Yes.
Mr. Abathera?
Yes.
Ms. Brooks?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move to our hearing of cases. Our first one is a variance request for Sasi Gaunawari. Mr. Gaunawari asked for a postponement till our next meeting of October 6th. Does anybody want to?
Motion to approve. I'll second that.
Kathy?
Mr. Friesen?
Yes.
Mr. Abathera?
Yes.
Ms. Brooks?
Yes.
Mr. Jezerman?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Our next one is a variance request by Michael Booker Sr. and Lynette Booker. They also requested to postpone their meeting to the next regular meeting of October 6th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Kathy?
Mr. Abathera?
Yes.
Ms. Brooks?
Yes.
Mr. Jezerman?
Yes.
Mr. Friesen?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Our next one is a variance request of Mandy Austin and Bob Haig at 2685 Timberwick. Celine, would you tell us about that, please?
Most certainly. Yes, this is a property on an interior lot of the R1A zoning district. Per the City of Troy Code, Chapter 83, Fences, Section 2, fence construction in residential areas, Item A, it indicates that residential areas, no fence shall be constructed to a height more than 6 feet above the existing grade of the land. The petitioner is requesting a variance to install 120 feet at the rear property line of vinyl privacy fence at the height of 8 feet, where the city limits to the height of 6 feet, Chapter 83.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Celine before I ask the petitioner to come up? Celine, you have a
Yeah, I'm going to the pictures right now, it's just at the very bottom. Since we canceled
them, yes.
the other two, I have to get all the way over there. Yes, so what it is, there's some pictures here, and what they're showing is that it's more for visibility. Their grade slopes up towards the house, so from the documents they sent, they say that a 6 foot will feel more like a 4 foot type of fence because of that concern that they're expressing. You can see the change of elevation of 2 feet on that platform. Here's a picture of the pool.
Celine?
Yes.
They have a pool in their backyard. Is there a fence around it already?
I didn't see one, no. No, and also there's no permit for the pool, so we would have to check on that too.
Okay. And on your map there, Celine, how deep is the back of the lot?
The back
From
of
the house to-
You're talking about reference?
Yeah.
I would
distance.
say an estimated 4 to 5 feet slope difference.
No, distance from the house to the rear property line.
Horizontal dimension.
I can check that on GIS if you give me a second. GIS showing 76 feet.
Okay. Excuse me, on your map, Celine, you show the dotted line. That's where they want the 8-foot fence.
That's what it's showing, yeah, that was submitted by the applicant.
What is the yellow line next to it? that you
Give
have?
me 1 second, let me get to that.
that one to the right.
So the line that says right here, proposed new fence, that's where the fence that they're requesting for it to be 8 feet. The other one is just a fence that's installed on the neighbor's side.
And it's 6 foot?
It is, from what I understand. Yes.
All right, anybody have any more questions for Celine? Is the petitioner present? Yes. Would you come up and explain to us why you need the fence? I'm always looking this way.
Oh, yes.
If you could tell us your name and the reason why you, and also if you could sign in if you didn't.
We did, yeah, Bob Haig.
Mandy Austin?
Okay. And your reason for needing an 8-foot high fence?
Well, the main reason is the slope of our property. You know, we set up a couple feet at the pool. If we go on the other side of the yard or right next to the pool, we're up 4 feet, you know, from where the fence is proposed. So basically, if we're, you know, out, say, the pool area, and we put up a 6-foot fence, we're already down 2 feet. So, you know, we're at a 4-foot fence, which is what we have around the whole property now because of the pool. And we don't feel that is going to give us, you know, the privacy that we're looking for, and the reason what we're building, you know, looking to build the fence. If we were on a flat property, you know, no slope, then we wouldn't be here. So that's the whole reason for that.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for the petitioner?
I'm sorry, did you say that you have a current fence surrounding?
Well, I have a fence because of the pool around the whole property, backyard. It's just a, you know, open,
It's right here on this picture.
4 foot cycle
yeah.
fence?
Yes, that's.
But that goes around the pool.
Aluminum, but yeah.
Okay.
Oh, lost your feed there.
Oh. It's weird.
Wasn't me. 1 second while we get our feedback.
It comes back by itself. There you go. Over there.
Okay.
So the fence right here,
Is it the 4 foot or up to 6 foot per the code? It's not required for a permit up to that?
no, no,
point, right?
no variance. It requires a permit, but not a variance.
Okay. Was there a permit for that one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you want to go 8 foot just to make it, now on the back side of the fence, what will your neighbors see? Will they see an 8-foot fence?
Yeah.
So, okay.
It's
And
right here.
the fence next door to you has a 6-foot privacy fence. You look right over the back of their fence and,
I could see over more than I expected to when I put it up, just because we're, you know, we're up from all our neighbors for whatever reason, just the grade of the land there.
okay.
But the neighbors, you know, he's flat, so the 6 foot serves the purpose, I suppose, for him.
All right. Any more for us right here? Anybody have any questions for the petitioner before I? All right. Thank you very much. Is there, should I see if there's anybody who wants to come up and talk on it? Is there anybody who likes to come up and talk about the fence? If you could sign in if you haven't?
I already did.
Okay.
My name is Dennis Scheich, and I live at 2718 Red Fox Trail, which is about 2 houses over from there. I was a past president of the Homeowners Association, which is now defunct. But the original deed restrictions for our subdivision didn't allow for any fences unless there was a pool. The whole idea here is in our community is that we have a park-like setting, so fences were an item that were restricted in our community. So putting up a fence 6 foot is not ideal for our community, much less an 8-foot fence going up. In their appeal here, it talks about their sound. I don't believe an 8-foot fence is going to do anything for their sound. And in fact, they talk about they can go inside their house and still hear the sound. So why would an 8-foot fence over a 6-foot fence do anything for sound? And it's just not an ideal situation for the community.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Oh,
My name is Maureen Brudenell. I also live on Red Fox Trail, and I have signed in. I'm also, when we purchased in the subdivision, there were no fences except pool fences allowed, and that's one of the reasons we bought there. We have since, our children have gone, but we love nothing more than the sound of the neighborhood kids, and I feel that kids during this pandemic is a really good sound, so I am totally opposed to 6-foot fences, let alone 8-foot fences.
okay, thank you.
Hello, I'm Mark Brummer. I live at 2664 Red Fox Trail. Oh, yes, I did sign in, thank you. I sent an email last week as well, including pictures of the backyard. Now, reading their request, it was more geared with the noise coming from my backyard, and I'm more than willing to work with them on that. I really haven't had a noise complaint from them in a year and a half, or at least a year. They've asked me to turn down music. That was their request. Now, they're talking about the visual of it, and if you look at my pictures, I can show you on my phone or from the email, I really can't see anything to their yard. There's one area where I can, if I'm on the west side of my yard, in the middle of the grassy area, I can kind of see into the pool, but it's not very, visual. And nothing that a couple, 4 or 5 arbs wouldn't fix. Their pictures are mine, but I took pictures from my yard to show I really can't see into their pool. And the whole noise complaint of parties and stuff, I'm 42, I have a 5 and a 3-year-old. There isn't much going on behind, after 8 o'clock. So I'm, very confused as well because, I'm the one who put in that back fence. I replaced their previous owners too. So I was confused about never hearing anything until I got the notice. So I don't want to look at an 8-foot fence. I don't want to have to clean an 8-foot fence. The neighbors right next to me, and we talked about it for a year or two, when they put in their composite, it's a nice looking fence, but it is 6 foot, and it's not great, but it looks okay, but another 120 feet, especially at 8 feet, I'd be looking at almost 1,000 square feet of blank space and stuff I have to clean with kids and a dog, in the fenced-in area. And when I moved in, I don't think there were any opaque fences. They're all cleared. In fact, my fence guy didn't give me a choice of a fence. He said, "Here's your fence," because I didn't get a choice, because you get to match everyone else's at the time for the permit. So if you have any questions for me, my email was much longer. I don't want to really get into that. I don't want to, create a problem. And I feel embarrassed that we're all here for this if it really was about the music, because in my opinion, it could have been solved in a 5-minute conversation. If they could truly hear it from their house, or, it was obnoxious. I really don't think it was. I'm listening to Tigers games. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Stuart Vetter, I live at 2663 Red Fox, right across the street from Mark. I've signed in. I would comment, as far as the noise goes, that my wife and I have lived there 7 years, and we've never heard any noise coming from that location, any partying, anything like that. More importantly, we're opposed to the nature of the fence, plastic nature of it, the fact that it's white and opaque and 8 foot. We're opposed to an opaque fence of any nature. I think it degrades the property value, and that's my comment. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi, Craig Jarvis, 2783 Timberwick. I've been in the neighborhood 21 years, and matching Moraine, the reason I bought there is the open green space, between the houses. My criteria was no fences, no sidewalks, no curbs. I got 2 of those. Understand the bylaws, precluded fences, entirely. The homeowners association has died down, enforcement falls to the city, and so now we have 6-foot fences. In my opinion, luckily, there hasn't been a whole lot of that. Every one that I've seen go up, causes me concern because it encroaches on the green space that, in my opinion, makes the entire community property values unique and even more valuable. I too have never heard sound. My wife and I eat outside a lot on the patio in the evenings during the week, all week. Kitty corner to us, there's some folks who have a trampoline, and the kids, it is unbelievable. They are almost out there 24/7, and my wife and I couldn't be more happy to listen to kids jumping on the trampoline. We're just amazed at the energy level. Prior to here, I spent 10 years in Franklin, 3/4 acre lot, open green spaces between the houses. Unfortunately, my yard backed up to Telegraph. I can absolutely tell you that an 8-foot fence isn't going to do anything about the noise. It is the reason I moved. I love the property there. It is not going to abate a bit of the noise.
Okay,
That's it.
thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else in, that everybody? We did get emails too. You guys got all those? Okay, I don't know if they might have been connected. People sent them in and here. Salim, I have a question for you.
Sure.
We can't stop them from putting a 6-foot fence up, correct?
Can you say that louder?
We can't stop them from putting a 6-foot fence up.
No, we can't.
Okay.
It's by right.
By rights. We don't get involved with the bylaws and the deed restrictions. Okay. Anybody have any questions for?
I think we've made that statement in the past.
Yes.
And I know somebody here was representing, or was representative of the homeowners association, and I think that's a very important point for your matter, is what this board is reviewing, and in regards to your homeowners association, it's kind of two different entities. So we have to follow what the code and the ordinance is for the city here first, and then takes it from there. So
Salim, I have one more question for you. Too. What size fence do you put around the pool? Is it a 54-inch?
54 inches.
That's in the code that even if there's a deed restriction, you can still put a 54-foot high fence around the pool.
Correct.
No matter if it's deed restrictions, bylaws.
Yeah, in fact, we don't have, we don't follow bylaws. It has been checked with the city attorneys, and no, that's not our job. We recommend if they want to check with their association, but we can issue the permit at 6 feet with not a problem.
But around the pool, you can't put an 8-foot fence around the pool.
No.
Around the pool, you can't put an 8-foot fence.
No.
54-inch.
Yes.
Maximum. Okay. Teresa?
Just clarification, is the 6-foot defined as obscuring or non-obscuring, or is it?
Obscuring. It can be either one of
6-foot
them.
obscuring. Okay, thank you.
it can be either one for the requirement.
And it can't go past the front of the house.
Correct.
Come up
It
both
goes-
sides.
It has to respect a setback according to the zoning of that area.
And this is not a corner lot, it's a,
It's not.
It's an interior lot.
It's an interior lot, correct.
okay. Andy, no? No question? Anybody else have any comments? Am I missing it? We don't have any phone-ins or any,
Well, Jackie presented all the public comment already. I do wanted to add something. So if they wanted to, they can do a 6-foot fence around their pool. There's nothing that
Okay.
is against that by code.
okay.
Okay.
Well,
So they could,
so now you give me a new question. They can do a 6-foot fence where they're proposing the 8-foot fence, not just around the pool, but like at the perimeter.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
but what you're saying is they could also do it right at the edge of the pool to have it higher in the air.
Yeah, they can have a higher fence around the
Bring it to
pool.
the back of the pool, so you're.
As long as it meets the boundaries of the house, correct? Corner.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, in this case, it's an interior lot. As long as they don't go from the front elevation out to the street with a 6-foot fence, it's allowed by right.
But I guess to the point of that, if the elevation of the grade is an issue, the fence could be moved up the hill and still be 6 feet tall.
Correct, it's from the grade, immediate grade.
Gotcha.
So could they put a 6-foot fence around their property and then put a 6-foot fence, like just a
Like a
40
screen.
feet of screening wall behind their pool? They can do
They
that. They
can
can
do
have fence and more fence?
Yes, they can.
Anything they wanted, okay. Teresa?
Well, you said screening wall. Would a screening wall meet the definition of a fence, or is it then get tricky because it's not an enclosed space?
No, you can put in your property, you're allowed to put in any location a 6-foot fence.
So you could put behind the pool 50 feet of 6-foot fence and then 60 feet behind a perimeter around your house.
I think fence as an enclosed space and not necessarily as a
It can be just a,
plane.
yeah, you could do it on your side to block
Yes.
something.
Okay.
Over here. All right. Anybody else have any thoughts or any questions?
No.
Can we comment again, or are we done?
You can come up and comment if you like. Does anybody have a problem with that?
No.
Go ahead.
Thank you, everyone. We moved in this neighborhood for the reason of this beautiful space as well. Peace and quiet, it's beautiful, we love it. And the only reason, the last thing we want is a solid white fence on our property as well. The only reason we would like to just minimize some of the sound maybe. The reason, there's this radio, I tried to use noise canceling earphones. It cancels everything except for the bass sound. So that's why I talked to Mr. Dana Self. What's the best way to maybe block some, I mean, I don't mean to offend anyone here, sorry.
Oh, you're talking to the, you have to talk.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to, yeah, I didn't realize it was, but I talked to Mr. Self, and he says a solid vinyl fence would help minimize the sound, even if it's because it travels straight line and up. That's how we came up with the idea. But if we can have, everybody enjoys the space, that would be great. That I'm all for it. We're all for it. We just would like to, everybody, perhaps, being able to love children playing, everybody, family gathering, understand that. Just, we are trying to see if we could both, they enjoy their
Okay.
Yeah.
space and we enjoy ours as well.
You feel like you're at Tiger Stadium, honestly. It's that
A few
loud.
times. I could hear it play by play, but
Have you thought of other ways of canceling the noise, like trees, bushes, arborvitaes?
We
You
have-
know, you could do a fence and plant,
We have-
I think trees probably are your best, because they're gonna be taller than 8 foot. They're gonna be 12 and 16, and they can make a solid wall, and maybe that'll eliminate the noise on it.
Yeah, I mean, we have what we can put in the space now, which is quite a bit.
we have a lot of trees. I don't know if the picture can show. A wall of, maybe I didn't have a picture of arborvitaes, but they,
I mean, because as a board, we are just looking at the city code, and, it's a 6-foot height and not an 8-foot height, because that's what we're up here looking at, is it requires 6 foot. We're looking at your variance to see if it can go to 8 foot, but I don't know what the rest of my board is thinking. But someone will put a motion forward soon. But like I said, I would suggest, you could bring the 6-foot fence up further if you had to, so you had more height on it. You could plant more arborvitaes. I don't know. Just if the noise is that much of a bothersome, those are probably some of the things you could do. Because I'm not sure an 8-foot, I don't know if an 8-foot would do that much more, but I'm not in that field. So,
that was my next question. If we couldn't do that, what could we
if
do?
you couldn't do what?
The fence?
Well, we don't know if you can't do it yet.
Oh, well, I
You can,
mean,
is according to Salim, you can do a 6-foot fence
Uh-huh.
without standing up here and asking for it. You can go in tomorrow, right, and pull a
Yeah.
permit for a 6-foot fence.
Correct.
Nobody can stop you from the city board here. So,
our only goal is to reduce some of the radio sound, some of the,
Right, well,
Yeah.
we haven't voted on it yet either, so,
okay.
okay?
All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
What's that?
I,
Sorry, did you want to speak to that?
no, I appreciate the general idea that their property is higher. I do understand the visual aspect of that. I appreciate the neighbors and their opinion of their space and how it was purchased. And I think there were some things brought to light today that maybe could lead to further discussions in the neighborhood. There seems to be some ideas that could possibly be reviewed, that putting the fence possibly closer to the pool and maybe then some green along that back line to hopefully help reduce it. I know sound waves, but not to the point of a technical to be able to say whether a solid fence would be able to reduce that. So I just general comments.
Okay. Anything?
Nothing in particular. I think I'm sort of agreeing, I think, with what I've heard. From the precedent standpoint, as your neighbors have noted, there's not a lot of it in this location. I personally don't think the fence is going to help you a whole lot in terms of sound. Just anecdotally, I lived, as someone else said, near a highway which actually had a 10-foot CMU wall, and I could hear it all day long, so it doesn't necessarily address. I think the easiest thing, I mean, there is something maybe to the adage of, good fences make good neighbors, but I think I would start with, talking to your neighbor a little bit and just trying to figure out if there's some way to reduce at the source and work together. I don't necessarily think that what you're asking for is going to solve the problem you're trying to solve, and it's maybe creating some new ones that maybe you don't want. So that's my personal opinion. I don't think it's going to necessarily do what you want.
Thank you, Matt. And thank you, Sandy.
I think I agree with Ms. Brooks, Mr. Risen's exact viewpoints. I think exactly what they said. I don't have to repeat it, but yeah, we appreciate everybody's comments too. It's very nice to see people coming in and caring about this, but yeah, I agree with the fact that the sound waves in an 8-foot compared to a 6-foot, and what that difference would make for you in reduction of sound and so forth. But as Mr. Priden said, that I think, some of the problem can probably be resolved through good communication and being able to speak to some of the neighbors in regards to what you're looking for. But I think you're looking at, as we pointed out, to be able to bring something closer to the house that would be in a higher height for you anyway, and an elevation that would give you, some blocking terms. So I think if you were willing to move a 6-foot fence inward closer to your pool, you probably would get what you're looking for at that point. So that's just my opinion at this point. So
Thank you, Matt. Does anybody want to put a motion forward?
I'll put a motion. I put a motion to deny the request, and that it doesn't meet the intent of the code and has not been shown to be unique.
I'll second that motion.
Did you get it all okay, Kathy?
Yes, I did, thank you.
And you seconded, Matt?
Yes.
Kathy, would you take it for a vote, please?
Mr. Abathera?
Yes.
Ms. Brooks?
Yes.
Mr. Jezerman?
Yes.
Mr. Friesen?
Yes.
Motion carries.
fails. Thank you. Your variance has been denied. Thank you. We'll move on to our next one is communications. Do we have any communications tonight?
I'm sorry?
Do we have any communications today?
I can hear you.
Do we have any communications?
Oh, no, any that you guys have, but I don't have any.
You don't have any then? Is there any public comment today? Seeing none, we'll take care of public comment. What's it? They're on their way. Any miscellaneous business today? Kathy? Celine?
I got a
Not for
question.
me.
So the suspension of the suspension, is that to be addressed or just rewritten, you said?
No,
Or-
I'm going to check with the city attorney, because we do have the option of a Zoom meeting, so I want to make sure that that doesn't cover that. In this case, we made the suspension because there was no Zoom meeting. So-
Understand.
But I'll double check on that.
Find out what we have to do on
Sure.
the next meeting. Hopefully we can do, we can just,
Yeah, it's just,
Well, it may stay within the actual bylaws, that just might have to be rewritten.
Yeah.
That's- I understand there might be an alternative if we have to meet
Yep.
back outside.
and that comes from the city attorney, so
Right. I can
I'll check with them.
okay. So you'll talk to Alan, find out.
Sure.
Thank you.
Any other miscellaneous business?
And not from my side?
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Meeting's adjourned.